Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Leadership Void podcast. I'm Enrique with my co host, Vince, to bring you the best in our veteran military spouse and first responder community. And Vince will introduce today's guest.
Thanks, Enrique. Rolling strong again and here in the month of February. Daryl Hych, guess what? From the Tampa Bay area. He is the CEO and president of the Switzer Hych Group, all the way again from Tampa. We're glad to have you on the show, Daryl. Let's start off, kick off the show. Tell us a little bit about you.
Hey, good morning, Vince, Enrique. Hey, guys. Thanks a lot for inviting me to your platform to be able to share, tell the story about who we are. Well, I'm from a little small town over in Illinois, East St. Louis, Illinois. Born and raised in East St. Louis, Illinois. Right out of high school, 1 week out of high school, I was active duty in the military. I looked around. I had that one story, that one father-son conversation. And my dad asked me, he said, boy, first of all, you're lazy. He said, and secondly, you like to eat a lot. And third, and you like to sleep. He said, so you might want to join the Navy. He said, because if you go in the Army, you're subject to get shot at, eat off the ground, and you know, those rounds start coming a little bit fast. So I went on to join the Navy right out of high school, man, and I just recently retired back in December of this past year.
Well, that's a hilarious story, but some similar story that most of us probably heard in one way, shape, or form. But thank you for your service, and thank you for joining the world's greatest Navy. You retired, and now you're doing this company thing, your own thing. So tell us about your company.
So back in 2012, while I was active duty serving, I started taking some trainings, and I'm a unicorn. Let me go back. I'm a unicorn. I'm one of the few people you're going to meet that has been active duty Navy 3 times. So I joined in '89, got out in '92, joined again in 2002, got out in 2005, and then came back in 2008 and recently retired. They gave me my 20 years. But those different gaps that I had prepared me for entrepreneurship because I began working for myself each time I was separated. And back in 2012, I started a consulting firm. I started a consulting firm based upon all of the businesses I had opened and closed and the experiences through there. And from 2012 to date, we've been running the Switzer Hych Group. And now, granted, while I was active duty, I had to do it on a part-time basis. But now, baby, I done dropped those papers. It's on and popping right now. It's on and popping. It's a full-time deal now.
Share with the audience what the consulting group does, and also how do you give back to the community?
So we're a business consulting firm. My primary focus is on entrepreneurship. We help anyone who is either from pre-venture to ultimately someone who is actively in a small medium-sized business who are just seeking to overcome frustrations. We come in and we help them overcome those frustrations. But we have 3 different unique platforms that we do it in. Myself, as I stated, I was in the military. The one thing I always knew about our military personnel is that they had everything it took to be a successful entrepreneur or business owner, but no one told them. So I created a program inside our organization called Uniform to Suits. And what Uniform to Suits is, it's a transition program to help service members transition from military to entrepreneurship. That was our first signature program that we started. And then secondly, we started with another program that's called Yes You. Again, it stands for Youth Entrepreneur Startup, where we help youth. We take youth through a whole entrepreneurship continuum, take them through a pitch competition, and then uniquely on the back end, we offer those youth at no cost for up to 1 year free business consultation to help them with their business and to help them with what they're trying to do. And lastly, through my quest of being an entrepreneur, I always knew that there were certain trainings and different things that I could take advantage of or that would benefit me as a business owner. But the price point to entry was so high that I couldn't afford it. So if that was my case, then surely it was the case of other business owners. So I bought into a licensing agreement to whereas I can now offer up to 250 different soft skill certifiable trainings that will help business owners and new business owners in those soft skill space. And that falls up on the program that's called the Entrepreneur Think Camp.
Now that is a
So,
wonderful offer. I tell you, three pivotal things, and Vince and I both know the value of youth and how getting them early, especially in the entrepreneur route, will help them out in the long run. So thank you for providing those three pivotal programs to the community, to the youth, and to entrepreneurs. Now you got great footing. So what's on the horizon for your company?
recently I was elected as first vice president for the local NAACP chapter here in Hillsborough County in Tampa. Um, Through that and through my processes of doing business here in the Tampa market, I realized that there was a gap. Entrepreneurs, we fill gaps. So I realized that there was a gap in the community, and that gap was there was no platform or there wasn't a space for Black businesses to come and do business like you have your various different chambers. There was none in Tampa. So, entrepreneur, I got together with some more people, put together the framework, and we will be starting, or we just incorporated this week with the Hillsborough County Black Chamber of Commerce. So we're knee deep into that. We've wrote the framework for it. Granted, it's going to be its own entity, but the Switzer Hych Group ultimately sat down to put the framework together and brought some people together to say, yes, let's go forward with this. So we're very excited about that because, again, that's going to give back to the community, not just to our Black and brown owned businesses, but to anyone who decides that they want to partner or affiliate with us. Man, we're going to take this thing to a play to win strategy.
I definitely, Daryl, love it. You're leaving a great legacy, not only for your family, but also for the future of Black and brown youth. So kudos to you. Hats off to Switzer Hych Group as well. Let's transition, talk a little bit about leadership. I love the fact that you are a unicorn. You've been in the Navy 3 times and you took those knees while you were out. And here's 10 years, 11 years later, you started your company back then. So not every military active duty can say that. So how do you continue to sharpen your saw and your skill set for leadership throughout your endeavors? What do you do, sir?
I got a friend of mine that makes a statement all the time. He says that anything that's not growing must be dying. And so to that point, I'm a continuous learner. I'm always up. I get up at about 4 o'clock in the morning, averagely go to bed at about 11 o'clock, and I'm up. And I made a statement the other day to on Facebook. I said, anyone who sleeps more than 8 hours a day, they're not looking towards success. But I say that, although I said that with the air of truth, some took it and got offended by it. But I take that morning when I get up, I'm listening to a podcast. I'm listening to a YouTube. I'm reading some more material to help sharpen my sword. Because at the end of the day, once I get it up here, it's hard for you. You won't get it back. Well, you'll get it back, but it's with me now. It's with me forever. So I'm a continuous learner.
I love that continuous learner mindset. Both Vince and I understand the value of education, especially if you're going to be an entrepreneur. Things change so rapidly around you, and processes change so rapidly that if you are not growing, you are dying
You
for
are dying.
sure. So thank you for that, and thank you for sharing that comment. Now, as you grew as a leader, having the various stages in life, what advice did you receive that you would like to pass on to emerging leaders today?
Honor the struggle. My mentor, his name is Brendan Burchard. And Brendan says, honor the struggle. When I started off in entrepreneurship back in 93, I used to own a cleaning company. And I remember one day walking through the car dealership that I was cleaning. And at that time, I'm a struggling franchise owner. I'm telling you, man, I was hungry. Hungry meaning my stomach was growling. I was hungry. Didn't have any food in the refrigerator. And so one day walking through that dealership, I opened up the freezer and I saw a box of old tamales that was sitting in that freezer. And those tamales, I don't know how long they had been there, but I told myself the next time I come through here and I find those tamales are still there, I'm gonna take those tamales home and I'm gonna cook them because I'm hungry. Now, to some, that may seem like, man, you stole from the dealership. But yes, that might be true. On the other hand, I was hungry. But I take those struggles, I take that problem, I take that vulnerable situation, and I share it with others. And I say, hey, you know what? Don't be embarrassed about what you've been through. Take what you've been through, honor it. And now, as my mentor has taught me, now I've learned how to monetize that. I've learned how to share and tell that story in a consultation approach, and being able to help others know that, guess what you, someone else can value from that. So that's what I've taken, and I've earned, I've really speak to that on a, literally on a monthly basis. And another program that we do is called Entrepreneur Speaks. We let entrepreneurs come up and tell their story just like that. We want to hear, how were you upset? How did you get to this point? Because people like to judge you from where they see you are right now, not knowing what you've been through.
Oh, absolutely. They like to be spectators, and we are the ones in the arena, really in the fight, doing what we have to do. And honor the struggles is such a powerful metaphor and a powerful theory to really consume. So great advice to emerging leaders. Now, Daryl, I'm very curious to hear memorable aha moments that you've had, either through dry cleaning, military, or your company now. Which ones you would like to share? I'd love to hear that.
We were at a with my Yes You competition out in LA. We were at a competition. So we take our youth through a whole pitch, through a whole curriculum, and then ultimately they go before pitch. Now, when they go and pitch in front of this audience, this is a tough audience. You have to do a commercial. The students have to produce a commercial. They have to present a PowerPoint presentation, and they have to do a business plan. And they have to present this to the judges, and then they have to perform on the stage and all of that. And I remember this one particular judge, she was not slacking off on any of those students. She took it as if this was real live, and it was real live scenario. And I remember my students coming up to me as I was standing in the back of the room. And they came up to me and they said, Mr. Daryl, that lady's tough. How are we gonna overcome her? I said, don't worry about it. Just do what you do. And those kids got up on that stage and they performed, and they did so well to this particular judge who they were afraid of. And I was kind of standing the back at her as well. She said this: I have one question to ask you all, and that's this: who did this business plan? Because this looks like a professionally written business plan. That's all I have. When she did that, I stood back like, got him. That's our aha moment right there. We have gotten the message across. We have delivered the message to these students. And that there was the epitome of an aha moment to me. I felt like a dad moment.
Definitely a proud dad moment when you hear a judge of that caliber basically commend you at the time for the results, right? And they had to put in the work, but the investment was put in on the front end, and they were able to execute it. So congratulations to those youth that were able to get to that moment. Because I tell you, I know they were plumb happy, and as happy as you were, they were must have been very proud of themselves. Now let's talk about that, because some judges will cause some pain and some challenge, and I'm sure they went through some moments of change themselves participating in these events. So what are certain strategies you use with your team to deal with those times of change and challenge?
So one thing I tell them is try to manage expectations. Manage expectations as well as celebrate. You got to learn to celebrate, because what happens with the entrepreneurial space, and when you dealing with so many things that you face on a daily basis, life or whatever the case may be, we get so far ahead that it's just go 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 go. So I tell them to manage expectations, stop and celebrate. And then the other thing that I tell people is walk into it with a caring heart. We tend to leave care out of business, but every morning at 9:30, my phone alarm goes off. And when my alarm goes off, there's three words that pop up on my phone: caring, understanding, and reasonable. And those are the three words that carry me through the day. But the most important of those is caring. And I think we tend to forget about that. So manage expectations, caring, and just understanding those three things. Man, you'll win all day with that.
Absolutely, a definitely win. You know, I'm going to add another title to your repertoire, which I'm going to add coach, because you have definitely coached the youth, coach different entrepreneurs, veterans, or those in corporate. So thank you, Daryl, for everything you do. Honor the struggle, folks. Manage your expectations. Definitely take a knee, celebrate, stop and celebrate. So great advice. Folks listening in that want to get a hold of you or your company, how do they go about doing so?
They can reach us by going on to www.switzerhych.com, and you can find us there, or you can find us under freetraining.com. You'll find us on that site as well. So we're our objective here in the Tampa market, Vince and Enrique, is to run this market as it relates to entrepreneurship from a non-collegiate university standpoint, because we got the University of Tampa, we got USF, HCC, outstanding organizations, Jim Moran, but we want to run it and own it from this space, from a small business, minority-owned business space.
And a wonderful goal to have. Folks, we will have that information as part of the show notes and video for you to be able to get a hold of Daryl and his company and all the great things that he is doing. If you'd like to get a hold of the Leadership Void podcast, the leadershipvoid@gmail.com is where you'll send that correspondence. If you'd like to hear a topic covered on leadership or have any questions from Vince and I, we'd love to hear about it. But today, Daryl, thank you so much for being with us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you all. Thank you, Enrique. Thank you, Vince. I appreciate you all. Hey, guys, go out and do some play to win strategies this weekend.
We will. We won't be up at 4 a.m, but you know what? We will be doing that. And for those waking up at 4 a.m, listen to the Leadership Void podcast and thank our sponsors, FAVOB, VEI, and Triple Nickel for being with us. So thank you again, Daryl. Have a great day.
You all as well. Thank you.